Hi there, this is Ayush from Lightscline, and today we are going to talk about CICD pipeline for machine learning applications. The first step is collecting the raw sensor data. We are only going to focus on sensor data. We're not going to talk about LLMs in this video. Uh, so uh, the first step is actually collecting the data of what's happening on the physical world. So sensors are used to collect the data to get an idea of what's happening in that environment. Once you have the sensor system in place, these systems could be used anywhere from like oil rigs, autonomous vehicles, ships, energy monitoring, a lot of use cases. But once you have the real world raw data, you actually need to keep it in a centralized storage. This centralized storage doesn't has to be cloud, it could be on a local server. The next step is actually labeling the data. This is based on the use case that you have. So if you want to detect anomalies in, let's say, energy signatures, then you need to say that these data points are normal, but this is kind of abnormal data points. Uh, Once the labeling is done, you need to train the models, machine learning models, and have some metrics to see how these models did. So for example, let's say you want 97% accuracy kind of stuff. You need to develop models based on that. And once you achieve your required metric, you need to deploy those models. Now, once the model is deployed, the real world data would actually go to these deployed models and give you outputs. It would tell you, for example, if it's anomaly or not anomaly, and you can take action based on that. But this doesn't end here. What happens is the performance of these models might degrade over time. So you need to continuously evaluate these models as well. Now, how do you evaluate those models? It could be based on, let's say, confidence levels, like the model is getting less confident, or you could update it, let's say, every 2 weeks or have a fixed schedule to update those models. Once you decide that the model update is actually required, uh, you actually need to do this process again. That means you have to uh, label the data, train the model, and then deploy the model again. So this becomes a cycle. Now, Lights Client could help you in two things. The first thing is training and deployment of the models. So during the inference, because we only use 10% or less data points, our models are smaller, which makes them train faster and which takes up less compute resources and less power. And again, because our models are trained only on a fraction of data, that means you don't have to transmit all of the raw data. You can we can get away with like less bandwidth utilization. And the second thing is uh, the labeling of these models is also we can op is also where we can help. So what we can do is we can cluster similar groups of data, and so this makes it easier for a human labeler to, instead of like labeling 10,000 data points, what they can do is they can label like 100 clusters and say, let's say this cluster is normal, third cluster is normal, fourth cluster is normal, second cluster is abnormal, something like that. And this would save him time. And this is how we help companies reduce their CI/CD costs as well. Again, this is not limited to just CI/CD. All of what we offer can actually be used for training the model first time as well. Thank you.